Hey, what is going on, crypto people? It is the Crypto Sage with another day in the life, in the crazy life that is a digital asset space. Good afternoon and happy Wednesday to each and every one of you. Bitcoin all-time high, new all-time high for Bitcoin. Was it 66 or 67,000? So that is really crazy. We can go over the market because the market is doing what the market does. We'll go over that for sure. But I do want to continue on with the interview with Brad Garlinghouse and Charles Gasparino. Also, some new footage out of the Raoul Pal and Real Vision from Raoul Pal of the Real Vision from the Real Vision camp. So we'll get into that as all, but we want to celebrate. Congrats to each and every one of you that have been in this, especially if you weathered the storm of the 3+ year bear market. This is an absolutely exciting time for sure. And again, for me in the Crypto Seekers home, it's not about being right on the Bitcoin price. It's about being in the market. It's about being in the market. And if you have a plan that you sell a certain amount of your Bitcoin at a certain price and you're leaving 10, 20, 30, 40% left for future price, that is called a plan. And trying to guess the right price at 100% all wrong or right is not the best plan, in my humble opinion. Is not the best plan at all. And so, we're excited to see what happens around the 72 to 75,000. Excited to see what happens there, but prepared for if something different happens there. That is the best strategy in my humble opinion. So we're going to get into the market. We're going to cover some Raoul Pal, but we want to go over that interview a little bit more in detail. I kind of stopped it short at around 3 minutes or so because we had to run out to take care of Miss Crypto Siege. And so we're going to cover the rest of the video, the interview with Charles Gasparino and Brad Garlinghouse as well. So listen, guys, this is your XRP Ripple daily news in around 0 to 10 minutes. So let's check out the market. I haven't refreshed. 2.75, is that right? Good night. 2.75 trillion. Let me refresh. Up 5.59% on the 7-day. CoinGecko is messing up. Let's try it again. Come on, CoinGecko, don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. Let's see. Let's cancel. Do this. The market cap at 2.76 trillion. So what's the new all-time high for Bitcoin? Because I know we reached that today. It's at 66,000. 67,276. And that previous all-time high was 64,000, like $64,800. So we definitely smashed right through. Smashed right through that. 2.76 trillion, up 5.9%. Now, obviously, some are saying this is because of the Bitcoin futures that launched. We all know the idea behind the Bitcoin futures. And I really do, when you think about the Bitcoin futures and that major advantage going to hedge funds and institutions and not retail investors, to me, this kind of speaks to me, BC Backer's point that there is going to be a lot of hype, people wanting to FOMO in. I saw a tweet today. I think it was from my guy, DIY Investing. He was out to dinner, out to lunch, and there was what he said, an older couple, right, in their 50s, talking about it's easy to kind of get the crypto and stuff on Coinbase, right? So it's like hashtag FOMOing in, right? And so that speaks to BC Backer's point that all this euphoria, when all new time highs are met, people are going to start kind of FOMOing in, and God forbid if it goes to 70,000, what do you think the FOMO rate is going to be then? It just makes sense. What do you think the FOMO rate is going to be then? And if the hedge funds, like Raoul Pal says, if this futures gives them some major leverage to wipe out retail, when do you think that that's going to happen? Do you think that is going to happen at 150,000 or 200,000 or 250,000 before these hedge funds move to wipe out retail? Or do you think it's going to happen at a different point? I think it's going to happen at a different point. That's me personally. I don't know, but that's what I think. I don't know, but that's what I'm planning, right? That's what I'm planning, right? So for sure, right? That's what I'm planning, right? And so, not that we have very little Bitcoin. We moved our Bitcoin into alts, same time frame, around the same range as BC Backer did, right? And so, but we kept a little bit of Bitcoin, right? We kept some Bitcoin for future numbers, right? And so, so that we can win in the market, right? And so, if you've been holding BTC for a while and you do something at 44,000 or 50,000, you did okay, right? So, in any case, guys, new all-time high for Bitcoin. Really excited about that. Wow, and it screamed through that. So just imagine, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 days sideways, and then bump up another 3 or 4,000. Then sideways another 2, 3, 4 days, and then bump up another 3 or 4,000. Doesn't take long to get to 72,000. It doesn't take long at all. But to me, it just psychologically, it makes sense. Just psychologically, to me, it makes sense that FOMOing is going to start to happen without question. And so we'll see. Let's go over the numbers. I mean, Ethereum is over $4,000, $4,114. We have a little bit of Ethereum in the Crypto CEO's home. Binance coins at $504. Unbelievable. And what do we got? Cardano's at $2.20. Shout out to my guy, Danny Lowe's. I hope you're well, my friend. XRP is at $1.15. What do we got? Solana's $173, is up 14% on a 7-day. Polkadot $44, 27% on a 7-day. Dogecoin is actually up 15% on the 7-day at 26 cents. And I mentioned Dogecoin because, well, they have network adoption. And by the way, they are launching Mint F asset ability on Flare networks. Mintable F asset on Flare networks. Terra Luna's at $43. It's up 14.5% on the 7-day. Love to see that. Love to see the double figures on the 7-day. Litecoin is up 20% on the 7-day, currently trading at $207. Uniswap is up 15.5% on the 7-day. It's currently trading at $27. So very, very cool. Avalanche up on the 7-day at 12%, 12.7% at $61. Bitcoin Cash, look at that. It's even up double figures. Goodness gracious. Can you get there already, Bitcoin Cash? Can you get to the new all-time high already? Good night. 10.3% on the 7-day at $646. Another mintable F asset on Flare networks when it does launch is Algorand. It's at $1.80. Polygon is at $1.53. It's up 25.4% on the 7-day. Stellar Lumen is up 16.7% on the 7-day. It's at 39 cents. It was just at 40 cents a few days ago. And I think I will wrap it up with VeChain. Shout out to all the VeChain holders. I'm so happy for you. I hope it does hit new all-time highs. It's at 14.6% on the 7-day. It's currently at 12 cents. So that kind of wraps it up there for the market. Guys, let's get into Raoul Pal, and then I will share the rest of the interview with Brad Garlinghouse and Charles Gasparino. Real business, Raoul Pal, this is what he's saying. This is unstoppable. It will have massive boom and bust cycles. There will be periods of time when you'll lose money and periods where you'll feel like a god, but that is opportunity. Let's take a listen to Raoul Pal here.
If we look at the traditional asset space, which is dying, equities, bonds, they're all kind of credit, they're all kind of 100, 200, 300 trillion dollar markets. The crypto market is 2 trillion. It's 100x from here. But I think it eats all of those assets over time. So maybe it's 200x. No, it won't be a straight line. But this is the biggest change in financial markets, the system of money and economics and how economies are run in all of history. in the fastest, shortest time it's ever happened. And people are going to be tribal about it. People are going to catch hold of their own narratives to make sense of this world. But this world is unstoppable. It is coming. It will have massive boom-bust cycles. There will be periods of time when you'll lose money and periods of times you'll feel like a god. But that is opportunity. Because in an exponential world, risk doesn't equal reward. Reward massively outsizes risk, as long as you're not stupid about how you invest.
As long as you're not stupid about how you invest. Wow. Reward massively outdoes the risk. Massively. How cool is that? You and I being early adopters in this new asset class. This is a really, really cool time. October, November, December. Raoul Paul says October, November, December, January, February, and March are going to be awesome. So I'm definitely planning on October, November, December. I think for sure Christmas of 2021 is going to be a blessing for so many people in the digital asset space. I truly believe it. And hey, if it extends to January, February, March, we're good with that as well. We're absolutely good with that as well. So very, very exciting. Great words. I love listening to Raoul Paul because he just has that macro investor perspective. And I really do. I like that he's not global. And I mean, he's not, he's not a maxi in any way. He's not in one camp or another, right? He just believes in the bigger picture for this new asset class. He totally 100% gets it. And this is exciting. And I'm so excited for everyone. When the altcoins start running, we're all going to be really, really excited. But until this dominance gets down, right now, we got Bitcoin at 45.5. It was 46% yesterday. But my goodness gracious, guys, 2.76 trillion for the total market cap. Wow. That is something. Let's continue with this video that I shared with you guys earlier this morning with the CEO, Brad Garlinghouse. I shared it around 9 o'clock Eastern time. Let me try it again. I'm going to go back to the 3-minute mark. If it will let me, I guess I got to move it. That's not moving. Let's see.
Brad, thanks for joining us.
But on the other hand, like, you know, I'm a U.S. guy. It's a U.S. company. Our headquarters. So part of the confusion is Gensler's on video in 2018 also saying he thought XRP wasn't a security.
Oh, so interesting. Okay.
And one of the beautiful things about what's happening in the Twitterverse is people are finding these clips that are actually contradictions to what they might have said. And it gets to the heart of the lack of clarity. If the now chair of the SEC in 2018 was saying two different things, you know, how can we, Ripple, how can I individually know what the SEC might think in the future? So, you know, look, I believe very strongly that we will get to a good place here. I think it's clear that on Capitol Hill, they're paying more attention to this, frankly, partly because of your reporting. And I think that also is good for the whole industry. If we get into somebody, Gensler has also called out, hey, we need more clarity by saying that we need legislation, but he's saying it's clear there's a contradiction there. I think it looks like Capitol Hill is kind of leaning in a little bit now, which is, I think, a very
really? So
positive.
you think there's going to be some movement to maybe set an Uber regulator as opposed to this sort of mishmash of regulation?
Or just to write clarifying laws.
Oh, interesting.
You know, I think you're seeing more senators, more representatives understand that this is a real issue. They're hearing from their constituents this is a real issue. You know, the effort for XRP holders against the SEC now is apparently 45,000 people
John
here in the United States.
The lawyer told me that, 45
exactly.
and growing.
That is not a small number.
No.
And when those people start calling their representatives, start calling their senators, they pay attention.
You kind of ducked my question, though. Are you a little concerned about those meetings?
Look, optics matter, right? And so do I think some of the optics are a little bit, that's interesting. You know, it's kind of ironic because the SEC obviously, I think in a good way, fights for disclosures. They fight for clarity.
Right.
But then when we ask the SEC to provide disclosures and clarity, you see these things happening. You're like, wait a minute, shouldn't you know, what were those meetings? What was the substance and why? And Look, what we seek more than anything is clarity and certainty. We think the SEC should play by the same rules around disclosures and clarity that we try to.
Bill Hinman gave that famous speech where he declared Ethereum I guess a cryptocurrency, no SEC involvement, Bitcoin obviously. I found out later on that Jay did have some input pre-publication, pre-speech. What do you think of that?
Well, I think one of the things the SEC has said is that was Bill Hinman's personal opinion.
Right.
It's hard to feel like there's a lot of activity that suggests that's much more than one person's individual opinion.
Right.
When the SEC comes out and they post a speech on their website, when they reference it in other things, it feels like that's more than that.
All right. Speaking about optics, Bitcoin ETF. I just got off the phone with Mike Novogratz, crypto investor. I believe he's an investor in Ripple too, isn't he?
He is a shareholder. He's a shareholder of Ripple, which Ripple shares, those are securities.
Okay.
And they are registered.
Okay.
Or they are an exemption.
I read that somewhere. That's good. It's good to clarify. I asked him about this, and he said it's symbolically, the fact that there is an ETF of Bitcoin, symbolically significant, huge. He used some superlative word. He was a little more dubious about the practical impact because it's a futures contract. Are you on board with that?
Well, first of all, Mike has been one of the most kind of prescient crypto investors out there, and I think generally when he says stuff, I agree with him. In this case, I also agree. It's a baby step. It's unfortunate that all we can really expect from the SEC right now are baby steps. So I think it's a positive step, but I agree with him in the construct that it's actually a futures ETF as opposed to actually a pure Bitcoin ETF. It really is going to appeal, I think, to very sophisticated investors. To the extent we want to open up the industry, democratize the industry, allow access to the industry, I think it's symbolic, or I think that was a word Mike used.
And the downside to retail getting involved in futures, it's priced differently. It's not. It's a little more of an opaque market, correct?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think if you start getting into the weeds of how futures work, you're alienating a segment of the market that might not, be familiar with how futures work.
Okay. Before I let you go, will there be an XRP ETF?
Well, look, I think this gets to, it's a really important question, maybe less so specific to your exact answer, which I promise not to dodge. But why is the SEC picking winners and losers?
Yeah.
Why is a government entity deciding this is a winning one, which, by the way, happens to have, some pros and cons, massive power consumption, which isn't great for a climate agenda that Gary Gensler cares a lot about. But being silent about other things. And then, one of the challenges right now is Gary Gensler, who has been asked specifically about ETH, hasn't commented.
The Ethereum.
But if it's so clear, if the laws are so clear and he's asked a specific question, then just answer the question because it's clear.
Well, what's interesting is I have this debate with people all the time. They're like, well, the internet is regulated. I said, no, it's not. The internet is not really regulated. You can't post illegal stuff. You can't post kiddie porn. You could post it, but you'll get arrested after you post it. That's where I think, would you agree with this notion that the regulation of not just the cryptos, but it all comes down to your technology on Ripple, it could have a stifling effect?
Well, I think it's already had a stifling effect.
Right. You guys
here in the United States,
right?
It has frozen certainly Ripple's activity in the United States. I think, you saw XRP get delisted from most exchange or halted trading at most U.S. exchanges. So I think it has had a stifling effect here in the U.S. Hopefully when we get to the end of this, there'll be certainty and clarity, and frankly, it could be a very positive thing for the XRP ecosystem and community that it's the one crypto where there is clarity and it is certain.
Do you see a settlement of your case in the works?
Look, I would love to spend less time on this and be able to move forward. The one thing that Ripple cares about more than anything, and really for the whole XRP ecosystem, is that there's clarity going forward that XRP is not a security. If that's not in the cards in a settlement, then there's nothing to settle.
I just want everybody to know, viewers, I've asked Gary Gensler to come on, I've asked Bill Hinman to come on, I've asked Jay Clayton to come on, I've asked the people at Ethereum to come on. I've asked anybody to come on. I'd ask who's the guy that created Bitcoin again? And that's
Satoshi. Well, we
we
don't know.
We don't know, but I'd ask him.
He or she.
So that's a great interview there, right? And so, I do think it's hugely important that Brad is pointing out there that XRP could be the one that, when this is all said and done, could have that kind of, clarity, coming, obviously kind of coming from the courts. I do love the fact that he is saying that, Congress is starting to pay attention. Like we said, they would start to pay attention if we begin to make noise. And what I mean by that is, taking to social media and allowing your voice to be heard, participating in the lawsuit with John E. Deaton. John E. Deaton won on Twitter at John E. Deaton, Deaton 1 on Twitter. It's pinned to his Twitter page, and you can join if you're an XRP holder. You can, in fact, join the lawsuit. If you believe in the bigger picture and this is going to affect the entire digital asset space, you don't own any XRP, maybe you want to consider getting some so that you can say, in fact, that you are an XRP hodler. And I do think, like Brad says, this is about the entire crypto space and the overreach of the SEC and just the stopping of these quote unquote picking winners and losers. This is hugely important. Hugely important. And I really do think that the more communities need to come together and realize this is a bigger picture. And just because your particular crypto or community hasn't been called upon yet does not, in fact, mean that it's not going to be called on. If they called on Coinbase, they'll call on your crypto without question. And now they're doing information requests for Celsius Network, a platform with $25 billion in assets under management, who has done everything humanly possible to not tippy toe on the freaking regulation, but to be 50 yards away from any kind of regulatory missteps. I mean, they are the uber conservative when it comes to that, right? Uber conservative. And yet information requests are coming in now because of the massiveness that's kind of going on. And so, and this is important. I mean, $25 billion in assets under management. I hope you guys get how significant that is. That's a massive amount. And so we want to, the overreach is obvious. The SEC believes that they can strong arm this new asset class. That's the bottom line. Very much like the FTC and the space that me and Crypto Siege operate in. Them believing that they can overreach and they can bully people. This is about. This lawsuit, in my opinion, was completely a personal thing and an obvious overstep, an overreach, if you will. And even former SEC commissioners like Joseph Brumfest, and I think he might have been a chairman, if not just a commissioner, told Jay Clayton, do not file a lawsuit. Don't do it. Do not do it. You have no grounds for doing this. And Clayton still decided to do so. So just understand this is what this fight is about. And Ripple is in a great position to do it. But it may come down to, when we reach the summary judgment and or settlement, which Brad Garlinghouse has said, there is no settlement without XRP not being deemed a security. There isn't a settlement that's going to happen with that. So either we're going to get the summary judgment where we get that, or the settlement will say that. And if, like a lot of people are saying, and I believe this to be true, Jeremy Hogan has said this as well, look, losing that fair notice defense in court is just, it could be the end all be all for the SEC having any regulatory jurisdiction over this space. And I don't believe that they want that. I don't believe that they're going to risk it. I think they're going to put up a fight for a little bit, but when it comes to losing that fair notice, I don't think they want to take a chance on doing it. Now, Jerry Hogan says that they may wait to see how the judge rules on the fair notice and then look to settle, right? But if they lose that fair notice thing, which is looking like they're going to lose it, it may very well jeopardize the SEC's ability to regulate this space, because then all the other crypto projects can use the fair notice as an argument as well. At least a lot of them can, right? at least a lot of them, like a Cardano, for example, would be able to use that defense as well. But in the end, if the SEC says, hey, a settlement means money, and settlements means for the SEC, obviously, and a settlement means we can continue to go after other projects. They have to weigh the pros and the cons. And for me, Gary Gensler-led SEC is not wanting to lose this ability to regulate in this space and do these enforcement actions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think he's going to take a chance with that, but we shall soon see. We shall soon see. I think obviously we got 10 more days or so in October, and we got all of November. But I really do believe that Christmas of 2021 is going to be huge for those of us who hold digital assets like XRP and all the other great assets out there in the crypto world, including Shiba Inu. And so we shall see, guys. So in the end, the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit is massive. The XRP holders, in whatever status of intervention that we have, we do have it. It's going to play a huge impact. If you didn't see it, John E. Deaton did file a letter. He did file a letter here. I'll go over it in case you missed it. Here's Jeremy Hogan commenting on this letter that Johnny Deaton, his motion, he put this into, he filed this with the courts, okay? Counsel for the amici curiae. This paragraph in John E. Deaton's motion regarding the SEC's motion to extend discovery is exactly why his and the XRP holders, 50,000 XRP holders, involvement is so important. Let's get it. Can we get it to 75,000 by the end of freaking next week? Let's get it to 75,000, guys. Someone has to tell the court how the SEC lawsuit impacts 50,000 people and counting. Right. And here he is stating it here. Let's take a listen to what he says. In opposing the SEC's request for this delay, Ripple's argument focuses on how the freezing of XRP markets within the United States impacts Ripple, the company. The negative impact on XRP holders, that's you and I, is even more profound. As the court is aware, nearly every digital asset exchange in the United States has delisted or suspended trading of XRP. And he puts a notation here where to find that. In addition to owning XRP on those exchanges, many XRP holders hold XRP in retirement brokerage accounts. Like, for example, a lot of people rolled over their 401ks. They rolled it over and they did the self-directed IRA thing with iTrust Capital, right? The XRP in these retirement accounts have also been frozen due to the SEC enforcement action alleging XRP to be an unregistered security. The lack of liquidity in the United States, coupled with the mass delisting, prevents XRP holders from trading, selling, transferring, or converting their XRP. And just got to understand that she is going to know, look, wait a minute. She already knows that they have been talks and discussions with the people at the SEC for close to 8 years now. In other words, she's going to realize, they are going to realize, the Honorable Judge Netburn and the Honorable Judge Torres, look, you allow U.S. investors to purchase this XRP year after year after year after year. You knew about XRP. You knew about the company, Ripple. You've been in discussions with Brad and Chris from pretty much the beginning. How do you continue to let it go and then all of a sudden decide? Like, that's just a human, like, it doesn't make sense to anyone. You don't have to be in crypto to know how it doesn't make sense. And the fact that we can now point to not the company Ripple, but the individual investor who's not an employee, who's not a shareholder, stockholder in Ripple, just a regular person looking to purchase something. And now you're saying that they purchased an unregistered security. Now, for me, ultimately, the powers that be knew that this would slow down Ripple. They knew it, because Ripple is in fact a competitor to Ethereum only because Joe Lubin decided to go to bed with JP Morgan and Quorum in their interbank settlement thing. He decided to do that and compete in cross-border payments. and try to keep the market to himself. Hey, if you want to get clarity for yourself, cool. But to try to do it and say, no, 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 the other ones, yeah. Just remember, Lubin said, point of fact, that they were going to be going after Pacific crypto. And that the other cryptos, the Cardanos of the world, the EOSs of the world, the Algorands of the world, the what else? Algorand and freaking Decentraland, all the other great cryptos of the world are going to have a problem. That's what Joe Lubin said. We're good, and all the other ones are going to have a problem. And that was the plan. So it is because of this de facto in-place seizure of their property that XRP holders took the extraordinary step to seek intervention in as defendants. Powerful. Nicely done, John Deaton. Effectively requesting that the court compel the SEC to take enforcement action against them. We had to take enforcement action against the SEC. Any delay in the underlying actions marks yet another day XRP holders do not have access to their funds. I wish to reemphasize my hesitation in writing this letter out of fear that I may be stepping outside of my limited role. And I certainly do not wish to aggravate this honorable court in any manner. With that being said, as this case proceeds to the merits, I hope even if the court denies consideration of this request, the court will understand why I was compelled to submit this request. Nicely done. So guys, there we are there. I wanted you guys to listen to the rest of that interview with Charles Gasparino and Brad Garlinghouse. Really great stuff. New all-time highs for Bitcoin, new all-time high for the total cryptocurrency market cap. And we're just getting started. Raoul Paul's, he's looking at a 100 to 200x for the entire space over a period of time. That is really cool. So guys, listen, I'm going to end this video like I do all of my videos and remind you guys of this, that old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather that we remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating, or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know, that the battle for you has already been fought, and the victory is yours. Go get it. I'll talk to you soon, guys. See ya. Bye.